Welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'll take you through the step-by-step process of how to learn data analytics and land your first data analyst job. If you're watching this video, odds are you want to become a data analyst. Maybe you've seen a TikTok video or a LinkedIn post, but however you got here, I'm going to go step by step for how I recommend you become a data analyst. Starting with step 1, research. If you've just seen a video glamorizing what it's like to be a data analyst, or you've heard a little bit about data analytics, before you spend all of this time and maybe a little bit of money to become a data analyst, I want you to know 100% of what you're getting into. So I recommend using YouTube, TikTok, Google, searching all of the different questions you have, like what's it like to be a data analyst? How much does a data analyst make? How long does it take to become a data analyst? And I'll even answer that last one. It's going to depend for everybody, depending on your background and other variables that are going to be different for everybody. So before you jump into this and spend all this time, do your research and you'll be good to go. Step 2, you're going to get active on LinkedIn, optimize your LinkedIn profile, and start networking. At this point, after all your research, you should know for sure if you want to give data analytics a go. And you might be thinking, I haven't even learned the skills yet. Why am I already creating a LinkedIn and networking before I'm even near ready for a job? And that's exactly the key. You want to build a network before you have to use it. If you try to build it and use it at the same time, you're just going to end up asking people for a lot of things and annoying people and burning bridges. So you want to get this step right now. So you want to start a LinkedIn page. You can do it 100% for free. You want to fill out all of the different sections. You want to add your profile picture, banner picture, headline, about section, job history, education history, and throughout all of these different sections, you want to add a lot of data analyst keywords like the different tools that you know how to use, and you want to go ahead and get active on here. This is a good place to document your journey, to meet other data analysts, and hopefully connect with recruiters. Step number 3, you need to learn SQL. SQL stands for Structured Query Language, and SQL is known as the language of the database because it's a coding language that is used by data analysts and other data professionals to clean data, analyze data, insert data, and delete data from a database. And I know what you're thinking, coding language, that sounds hard, and it's definitely not easy, but I'm going to break it down into 3 different steps of learning SQL to make it as seamless as possible. The first part of learning SQL is you need to learn the basics. You need to actually see what SQL looks like, what the syntax looks like before you can do anything else. And to do this, I'm going to recommend 4 free resources. The first 3 resources are the Khan Academy SQL course, the W3 School SQL course, and the SQL Bolt SQL course. All 3 of these are free interactive SQL courses that are more than enough to help you learn the basics. And then the 4th resource is Alex the Analyst here on YouTube. Alex does a great job of explaining complex topics simply, so definitely include him in your learning. And these 4 resources alone will be enough to get you going with SQL. The second part of learning SQL is practice problems. Practice problems are great to actually give you experience using critical thinking to write your own SQL, and there are 4 great websites I'm going to recommend for you to do this. The first is Analyst Builder, then you have HackerRank, DataLemur, and then LeetCode. All 4 of these are fantastic resources, and each of these you'll be given a little prompt and some data, and from there you'll write your own query. And then the third thing I recommend you do to learn SQL is to do actual projects. Projects are long-term what's going to help you get a job in the way of your portfolio, but more on that later. But projects really give you that hands-on practice of applying your new technical skills, including SQL, to solving real-world problems. All you have to do is search SQL project on YouTube and you can find a ton of guided projects to get you started. Some of these are good, some of them aren't, but they can definitely give you practice using SQL. Alex the Analyst on YouTube, he has some guided projects, so you can check those out. But I recommend starting with a guided project and then go and find your own data set and doing your own projects. I have some great free data set websites linked below. But doing these projects are how you're going to build your skills, because just watching videos is only going to take you so far. And then as we'll get to, it'll help you build a portfolio, and that's how you get the attention of recruiters and hiring managers. Step number 4 is you need to learn Microsoft Excel. There's a big joke among data analysts that we spend all this time learning technical skills like SQL and Tableau that we'll get to in a minute. All of that just to get a job and be using Excel all day. That's a bit of an exaggeration, but sometimes as a data analyst it feels like this because corporate America loves its Excel. If you've never used Excel before, I recommend checking out the W3 Schools Excel course, but this course is very basic, so if you have any Excel experience at all, this course will probably be below you. But if you have any experience at all using Excel, all you need is YouTube to learn. YouTubers like Alex the Analyst, Layla Garani, Kevin Stratford, I have them all linked in the description. They all do a great job of teaching the basics of Excel. Focus on learning the basic formulas, doing lookups, building pivot tables and other kinds of charts, and you'll be good to go. Step number 5, you need to learn a data visualization tool like Tableau and Power BI. These data visualization tools are how you build reports full of charts and graphs to keep up with different metrics, to answer questions for stakeholders, and this again is another crucial step of becoming a data analyst. As far as which tool to learn, either one is fine, but I recommend you just start with either Tableau or Power BI and stick with it rather than trying to learn both. Tableau is just owned by Salesforce and Power BI is owned by Microsoft. If you decide to learn Tableau, I would recommend checking out Tableau Public. It is a website where you can get a free version of Tableau, free data sets to practice with. There's a place to publish your project, and there's some tutorials. And other than that, I recommend you check out other YouTube channels like Alex the Analyst and Andy Kribel. They're all you need to get started with Tableau. And if you decide to learn Power BI, you can also get a free version of Power BI, and you can learn with YouTube and free data sets. And for all of these different resources I just named, you can find the links in the description. Step number 6 is you need to build a data analyst portfolio. The hardest part about getting your first data analyst job is you have no experience to help you get that job. And that's how a data analyst portfolio works. In a data analyst portfolio, you'll do projects showcasing your skills in SQL, in Tableau, sometimes Excel, and this shows recruiters that you can use the tools that you have listed on your resume, you can use them to solve problems and answer questions, and you're able to communicate your results and methods effectively. I recommend that you find a free data set from one of the dataset websites that are linked below and act like you're working for a company in that industry. Maybe make a set of questions that you're trying to answer, or maybe just one big question you're trying to answer, and use your new skills in SQL and Tableau or Power BI to help answer those questions. Once you're done, I would do a write-up explaining the business problem or problems you're trying to solve, why you use the tools and processes you use to help solve that problem, what the results were, and then how that can or should impact the business. There are a ton of different options out there for where to host your portfolio, so I would just do some YouTubing and Googling to see what works best for you. Step number 7 is you need to craft a great data analyst resume. Now that you want to become a data analyst, you don't want to just use the same resume that you've used to apply to any other types of job. You need to make this specific to becoming a data analyst. And to do this, I have 3 big recommendations, and then I have a great YouTube video linked in the description to help you go further. My first suggestion is in your header, you should have links to your LinkedIn and your portfolio. Again, at this point, you have no experience, so your experience section on your resume is only going to help you so much. So it's important that you try to get recruiters to go check out your LinkedIn and your portfolio so they can see how great of a data analyst you already are, even if you haven't gotten your first job. Second, I would recommend including a project section on your resume. Again, this is how you show recruiters and hiring managers that you already have some experience using SQL, Excel, etc., even if you haven't had a data analyst job already. And then third, whatever kind of job experience you already have, you want to highlight anything that will be useful to be a data analyst. So obviously this includes any kind of data analysis. Really any kind of job has some level of data analysis, so hopefully you can figure out something to include here. Any kind of data tools you've used before, maybe you've used Excel on the job before. You can include soft skills like leadership, communication. Those are still very important in becoming a data analyst, but as a whole, this section should point to This is what I did in my previous job, and this is how it will help me in the job that I'm applying for, which is a data analyst. Step number 8, you need to develop a job search plan. Searching for a job is no fun, and that's just the reality. But if you have a job search plan, you can make it a little bit less painful. This includes scheduling a time every day when you're going to be applying for jobs, figuring out how you're going to land referrals, and maybe choosing what kinds of companies or industries that you're interested in working in. I recently read this book called Linked by 2 former LinkedIn employees, and it goes very in depth for helping you land a job using LinkedIn, so I highly recommend you check out this book, and again, I've linked it down in the description. Step number 9, you need to prepare for interviews. This is a step you should start before you've actually landed an interview, but once you have an interview scheduled, that's when you should really lock in. In this step, you should do company research and be able to answer why you want to work for that company and why you want the position that you're interviewing for. You should look up commonly asked data analyst questions because they do come up a lot in interviews, and then also do some practice for technical interview questions in those SQL practice problem websites that I talked about before. Those are terrific for this step. Step number 10, land the job and help others. Eventually, if you keep working hard and giving it all that you've got, you're going to land that first data analyst job. Once you've landed that job, work as hard as you can, keep learning, and kill that job as much as you can. And then remember how hard it was for you to get that job in the first place, and know that there are other people out there trying to get their first data analyst job, and try to help them the way that you wanted people to help you. So, now that you know the entire roadmap of how to become a data analyst, are you interested? Are you willing to put in the work and time that it's going to take? If so, let me help you. I drop a new video on this YouTube channel every single week, so be sure to subscribe below if you want to become a data analyst. And with that said, I'll see you next week.